Hello, CU SoCal. Since we started this video series, we have consistently said that CU SoCal will get through the challenges of COVID-19. And if you look at my mask here, you can see the words, "This too shall pass." Well, I am more confident than ever before that this too will pass, that we will get through COVID-19, and it's been pretty exciting to see how our team has made every effort to change lives for each other and our members. Today, I have several questions for you. And the first question is, what do you believe? What do you believe? The second question is, what do you want to achieve in life? And the third question is, what are you going to do about what you want to achieve in life? Now, as we've talked about the last several weeks, if you feed your faith and not your fears, and you think about the positive, and you also think about your why, you can achieve virtually anything you set out to do in life. And we're today going to ask you to set your sights high and to not stop believing. We believe in you, we believe in each other, and I'm going to say it over and over that our very best days at CU SoCal are ahead of us. Now, many of you know lots of people, I know lots of people, and unfortunately their favorite day of the week is someday. Well, here's what I'm asking you is, I'm asking you today, not someday, but today, to think about what you believe and what you're going to do to achieve your goals. One of the very first things I believe you need to do to achieve your goals is to find someone that believes in you. For me, I've had so many people in my life that have believed in me, and it's made such a big difference with my ability to achieve certain goals that I've set out to achieve. One of the most significant things that happened in my life was in, I believe, the 5th grade. And I'm going to have to tell you another story about my father. You might be getting tired of hearing stories about my father, but he was such an incredible person. I just have to share another story because it's about the importance of belief and why you should never ever stop believing. So in the 5th grade, I was out at Gladstone Street School, and my dad and I were there with my brother flying U-controlled planes. In the Gunderson family, it was a very, very serious hobby, flying U-controlled planes. And I started probably flying these planes when I was in the 3rd grade. And 2 years later, I tapped my dad on the shoulder and said, "Dad, I'm ready to go to the next level. I'm ready to fly inverted." And that was the big next step in the Gunderson family. My dad said, "I believe in you, son, and let's do this, but I'm going to go out there with you, and when your brother releases a plane, I'm going to put my hand over yours, and when we get inverted, I'm going to press down on the handle to bring the plane back over the top." A lot of people, he said, think to bring the plane back over, they give the handle up. I said to my father, I think I've got this. I really think I can do this. And he says, "Okay, let's give it a go." So my dad fired up the plane, and I gave the let go of the plane signal, and he let it go, and I flew for, I guess, 30 to 60 seconds, and then I took the plane up and put it on its back, and there the plane was in all of its glory, inverted. And guess what? I lost focus, and as my dad thought, I gave the handle up, and the plane nosedived into the ground and broke into, I'm guessing, 5, 6, 7 pieces. I was distraught, and it makes me emotional to think about and to talk about again, because I've shared this story with our team members before. I think it was about 3 years ago, but I still get emotional. I was so distraught and thought my dad is going to be really upset, and I had never really seen my dad lose his temper, but I found out just what kind of man he really was. My dad took his very best plane, he hooked it up to the wires, and told me to get back out to fly his very best plane. And I said, what are you doing here? I just crashed one of your planes. He said, "You've got this now. I believe in you, son." Now compare that to a father or a parent that would have cussed at me, beat me, who knows, to what he did. He believed in me, and the good news is I got his plane airborne, got it inverted, and brought it back over the top because he believed in me. So think about the importance of finding someone in your life that believes in you. That's one of the many strategies you need to employ to achieve your goals. Now, I have here today the actual plane that I crashed, and it must be about 50 years old, and you can see all of its wounds, all the body damage. I decided after I crashed this plane to go home and spend days gluing it back together, and I showed it to my father probably a week after I crashed it, and I said, "What do you think, Dad?" I think he was proud, but he said, "Dave, there's a lot of things wrong with that plane." I said, "Well, can we give it a try?" He said, "Sure, but from what I see, it's probably when you get it in the air, it's going to come in at you because of the way you've got it angled." He said, "But if you want to give it a go, let's give it a go, but you're going to have to make a run for it if it comes in on you." These planes fly at about 40, 50 miles an hour. So he hooked it up, started it up, and I watched him let go of the plane. I gave him the signal to let it fly. And the amazing thing is, the miracle really in my mind is that this plane flew as well or better than any plane that we had at the time. My dad, he probably crossed his eyes in confusion, but afterwards he re-looked at this plane and he said, "Dave, it appears to me that there are so many things wrong with this plane that they all offset each other, and they produce the perfect plane." So I just had to share that story. He not only believed in me in hooking up his best plane, he gave me a chance to fly the plane that was a mess, and what appeared to be a mess turned out to be a great plane. So find somebody that believes in you. My guess is that many of you at this point of the COVID-19 crisis are struggling. Some of you might be cracking, some of you might be depressed, some of you are struggling financially, and my guess is most of you have some challenges greater than my challenges. I do have my challenges as well, but I know that your challenges must be greater. I want to encourage you to keep on keeping on. Don't let up. One of the funny challenges I had, and in some ways to me it wasn't funny, but the challenge was resolved yesterday, but for about a 2-week period, my energy level was about 20 to 30% down, and I couldn't figure out why. When I was working out, I would work out harder, telling myself, "You got to get through this." I didn't have a fever, didn't have a cold, but I didn't know why my energy level was so low. But I did not stop believing. I kept on pushing forward, knowing I would eventually feel more energetic, and I need that energy to serve my family, to serve you at CU SoCal. So yesterday, my wife, when she was refilling the coffee canister, she noticed that the coffee pod, the last one that was in the canister, was decaf. She had accidentally filled my canister with decaf coffee. So yesterday I finally had some caffeinated coffee, and lo and behold, my energy level came back to where it was. But I really believed that I would eventually start feeling better. That being said, you have more serious issues. I'm sure you do. Do not let up. Keep on believing. Now, after you think about feeding your faith and not your fears, and finding your why, and setting your sights on lofty, very high goals, and then finding someone that believes in you, what's next? Well, here's what Tony Robbins had to say. A basketball coach took a group of basketball players with the goal to see what kind of practice sessions would improve their free throw shooting percentages. Where do basketball players often choke? It's at the free throw line. So the first group of players, he had shoot free throws for 6 weeks for hours a day. The second group, no practice at all. No basketball court, don't do anything connected to basketball. The third group, he had to go out to a free throw line for 6 weeks, for hours a day without a basketball, and shoot perfect free throws. That being said, every free throw shot in the mind would be a switch. All right? Every free throw in the mind would be a switch. So was the mind more powerful than actually practicing with a basketball? Well, what group did the best? As you probably would guess, the group that didn't do anything at all did not do the best. And as you probably guess, the group without a basketball that practiced for 6 weeks, thinking about every shot being a perfect swish, that group improved the most. Look, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice can make you close to perfect. All right? So what I am saying is whatever you believe, you'll ultimately likely achieve. But you have to think about the power of the mind. It's one thing to find someone that believes in you, but you're going to have to do some things with your mindset to achieve a level of certainty to know that you can achieve a certain goal. And I really would like you to think about that. We have, over my almost 30 years at CU SoCal, achieved most every goal, but we have had at the same time, like virtually any other organization or business, we've had our share of challenges. For years, we could not grow loans. We had 0 to negative loan growth. We tried 20 different strategies. And about 3.5, 4 years ago, we finally started producing 10 to 20% loan growth. And it's because of the team we have in place now that believes in a bright future and has the commitment to building better lives through our loan products, but we never gave up. And one of the things that's so important to achieve your goals, just dive in and you'll have little breakthroughs here and there, and that will cause you to become more certain about your beliefs. And during this crisis, a lot of businesses are failing, and that breaks my heart. At CU SoCal, we are succeeding, and we're succeeding because we have such strong beliefs in how we're going to build better lives for others. But I would like you today, not someday, but today, specifically think about what you want to achieve 1, 2, 3 years from now. Don't wait for that someday, and think about it today. Think about your why, and know that if you find someone that believes in you and you can develop a mindset that you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, oh my gosh, you can go much farther than you would ever believe, and so can CU SoCal. So don't stop believing, and I look forward to chatting with you next week.